And I just can't help myself. I can't wait. Let's play Castlevania Symphony of the Night, or better known as Dracula X Nocturne in the Moonlight on the Sega Saturn. This is the run on the Sega Saturn. Might be a warm-up, I'm not sure. Is this going to be a deathless run? I don't know. Let's see here. So, you have to also take note, the resolution is slightly different. The Saturn resolution is slightly smaller than that of the PlayStation. So, something to know there. I just noticed that I titled the video wrong. Oh my gosh. Oh well. It's okay. We'll see what we can do. Alright. So just note, to 100% this game, it's 211% instead of 200.6 because there is extra areas in this game. Let's see here. Why do I have an 8-hour a la carte file? Oh, just realized we need to make sure the audio is here. Let's see, and a microphone. Is that working? I think that is. I think that's good. Just dial down the background music a little bit. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Let me see here. Let's do Joestar. The once you beat the game, the all luck code actually does work. But let's go on. Alright. Now, who am I gonna be? Obviously, I'm gonna be the man, the myth, the legend, our favorite Dampier a la carte. But this is something really cool. The Saturn version just gives you the option to pick who do you want. Do you want to be Richter right off the bat? Do you want to be Alucard or Maria? It's like you don't have to beat the game. We're gonna go as Alucard. Excuse me. Now I also, on my Sega Saturn, I have the video CD enhancing deck, which is an external device that you can put in. It was only released in Japan, but it's supposed to help FMV sequences. I only believe it works with like 4 games. Like Lunar was one of them. You're gonna notice right off the bat that the game is gonna be a little slow. It's gonna move slower than normal. That's a side effect of the fact that the Saturn just couldn't handle the awesomeness of this game. I will say, the game feels really comfy playing this on a Saturn controller. およ。
滅びよ。ここはお前の住む世界ではない。私は自らの力で蘇るのではない。欲深な人間どもによって蘇るのだ。
I know there's an actual there's a fan translation where they basically just ported the dialogue over from Symphony of the Night, but the Japanese voice acting is really top notch.
だが現に人間どもは欲望によって
What
発
is a
展
man?
し信仰によって統率されてきたではないか。人間は力だけでは統率できない。敬い慈しむ心があるからこそ統率ができるの
He's
だ。
gonna say the line.
くだらん。どちらが正しいか死をもって分からせてやる。
Very menacing. Ooh, he completely mistimed that. There we go. No hit. It only took 3 minutes. Now here's the first difference. The intro is narrated, and this is the only part of the game that's in English. And what's funny is that in the Dracula X Chronicles version, the PSP version of Symphony of the Night, and that's in Requiem, this English translation is transferred over, and it's Robert Belgrade actually narrating the intro. I think Robert Belgrade also narrated or did the narration sequence for Castlevania 64 and Legacy of Darkness. You also notice that it says Ralph C. Belmont instead of Trevor. That's because that was Trevor's name in Japan, was Ralph. Ralph Christopher. Yeah, the rest of the game is entirely in Japanese. This is the only time there's English translations here. And this is cool, because it doesn't say Castlevania, it says Dracula X. Because this is the sequel to Rondo of Blood, like the direct sequel. Oh man. Yeah, some of the sounds a little bit different. So I have to immediately change some settings around. So the Sega Saturn controller has 6 buttons, directional pad, and an L and an R button. The backdash is set to R. I do not like that. I have to switch this. So I have to make this R and that R. There we go. That's what I need to do right off the bat. And you're probably like, wow, you can read kanji? Yes. No, I can't. I don't have enough to do Hellfire. I can do Summon Spirit. So C is going to be my left hand, A is my right, B is jump. X, Y, and Z are your transformations. And to summon the map, you have to press start and L to summon the map. It's very, very weird. So let's see here. We also have the third hand that I was talking about. So the Saturn version has the third hand, which is consumable items. This is going to be very helpful because then I could just set a dedicated button just to use consumables. That's pretty much it. All right. Oh wait, I should format my my inventory here. There we go. Okay. All right, we're good. We're good to go. Yeah, some of the effects are a little bit different. The game can be a little bit slow. Other than that, the music is still the same. Anybody joining, this is Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the Sega Saturn. We can still do the speed running shield cancel, which is pretty cool. I think we can see if we could do the death skip. I don't think I can. I think I tried it in a previous stream and it doesn't work. I think it's only in the PSP and the Requiem version, but I'll try it. Alright. Nope. It just automatically starts. So it's only in the PSP and Requiem version can you do the walk through the door and walk out. The background gong in this scene is completely like all on reverb and it's just not a good audio file for some reason. It's just like boom. Alright, so death has to be that person. Takes our power away. Now remember, to optimize your SOTN run, if you are new to the game, you have to do a series of objectives to get through Castle 1 if you want to 100% the game. Objective 1 is always going to be go for the Jewel of Open. But we have a new objective. Get the Bloody Knife. Getting the Bloody Knife is the best weapon right off the bat for the regular castle. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to be the weapon that we use all the way till we get the Valmanway, or Crusagram. I love saying Valmanway. So, remember the previous objectives. It's always going to be Jewel of Open, followed by get the Leap Stone, and then just move on from there. For some strange reason, I really enjoy playing the Saturn version of SOTN. I think I enjoy it a little bit more than playing the PlayStation version. Now, there are some things that we can kind of do to kind of speed up the game. One would be turn off the relic that brings up the text of the enemies' names. That kind of helps. And we actually have load times going into transitionary areas. I think I'm going to do a full version of this game. I'm just doing this just to give myself a little bit of a warm-up. I might go back to doing Golden Axe Beast Rider, but I was saving this game for the weekend to really stream. There we go. Now I can shield skip. All the same secret and breakable walls are here. The only difference is there's just a new level. 4 new areas to explore. But I don't believe that they have any secrets in them. I did yet to find any breakable walls in them. So I know there's really nothing. Everything's here. The music is here. Gameplay is there. The technical aspect of this game is front and center. Cool, cool. First boss, we're gonna fight Slowgrut and Gaibon. I should have enough to do Soul Steel, and I believe Soul Steel is much easier to cast in this version. Here we go. Maybe I don't have enough magic. No, I can't cast Soul Steal. I have no magic. That's okay. We started off really bad. There we go. Thought I would have enough magic, and sadly I don't. So it's okay. We're gonna get level ups to get us some magic. Ooh, no Basilard there, so that's a bad RNG. Usually we want that. We'll get it by the cannon. I like that sound effect for some reason. It's pretty nice. Alright, we'll put the Basilard on, and like always, we will run with that. Ooh, I didn't want to throw my knife. I don't think I can get arthritis as badly as death gripping my PlayStation controller. Whereas the Sega Saturn controller just feels natural. Feels much more relaxed. Ooh. Now, we're not going to be able to get the Bloody Dagger until we go to the underground waterway. Because if this is anybody's first time playing the Saturn version, you're obviously gonna just be like, you're gonna want to go to the secret levels, and it's like, no. Castlevania Judgment's pretty cool, and it is great with the GameCube controller. And if you watch the Netflix series, Trevor kind of looks like his character. So we're gonna go like the normal way, like we always progress. I'm not doing like a full Saturn run of this game. This is kind of just a warm-up. I'm not really like jiving on doing like a deathless run. I'm just trying to get like myself warmed up for the weekend. Break it up into 2 parts. You know, you can if you have Order of Ecclesia, you can remote your DS in to unlock Shanoa right off the bat. Hey, Gant looks like he's Voldo from Soul Calibur. He like plays like Voldo too. It'll work with a 3DS. There we go. Yeah, you make sure you link your DS so you can unlock Shanoa. She's pretty cracked as a character. She's pretty cool. Oh, we got some shaky screen for some reason. So yeah, the enemies in here are... We're not going to be able to make it that far because there's a door that we can't get past. But the enemies in here are brutal, so it's wise that you don't go through here right away. Number 1, those will-o'-wisps will definitely get us. Yeah, like I'm already down to like one more hit, I'm gonna be goner. So we're not gonna go mess with that room. Oh gosh, my kid is crying. I don't know why. Whoa! Ah! First death. Just a warm-up. We can show Richter with his tailcoat. Show off Richter. Oh, it's saying not enough memory to save. Interesting. It's just different. It's definitely just different. The art style was different. I mean, if you think about it, Castlevania on the Wii would be great because you could use the motion controls as a whip, but then it was like, oh, let's make a fighting game. It's like completely out of left field. All right, we got Richter in his tailcoat. Let's see, where did I leave off here? Okay, so this is what I was doing. This type of map progression. I think I was going to head to the outer wall. Or could chance and go through the... Nope, nothing there. To select Richter and his tailcoat, you have to, on the character select screen, hold down. Hold down and press A. Otherwise, he's going to start wearing his Rondo of Blood outfit. could have done a little bit better with their character roster now that I'm thinking about it. Like, they could have had Richter as a playable character. But then again, like, how many Belmonts are you gonna have? I would, Soul Calibur 3, I was creating Belmonts in Soul Calibur 3. I was a backer for that game, so trust me. I've put my share of time in Bloodstain. I'm gonna do more randomizers with that, because I like the randomizer runs. But Bloodstain is worth it. I can't wait till they make a sequel. The only bad thing is once you pick up a sub weapon as Richter, you can't use the flame whip. And I always liked using the flame whip. Now, I don't know if this works here. I could be wrong. I think it does. I think the elevator... Oh, yeah. Hydrostorm. Hydrostorm! Sorry, my voice cracked there. Oh, it does work. The elevator does work. Hydrostorm and Grand Cross. There you go. I hope in season 2 of Nocturne, Richter says that. Like, he just gets, like, so mad, cracks a vial of holy water, and just screams Hydrostorm. And then it starts to rain holy water, burning, like, all the vampires. That would be cool. Seeing that animated. Straight up Hydrostorm! Let's take out the doppelganger. We're just gonna blast him with the good book here. Oh, really? You're gonna use Mist? There we go. So, I noticed something. I don't know if anybody else notices this, but when you do Alucard's Mist transformation in the Saturn version, because of the graphical limitations, it's a floating skull. Like, it makes the image of like a floating skull. That's what the Mist texture kind of looks like. Oops. Fail. Alright, we're gonna head to the library. So when you play as Richter, Belmont, and Maria, your main goal is just to go and defeat Shaft. I killing bosses does make you stronger. Picking up the life ups make you stronger. But there's no way you can get all the map tiles because there's areas that only Alucard can traverse. But what I find interesting is that the Master Librarian is facing the opposite way. Like, he doesn't want to talk to you. Yeah, I'll show you. It's funny. I think they did this because he has to be facing to the right to engage dialogue. And they just, instead of deleting that code, they just flipped them to the left. So we're gonna go take out the lesser demon, because that's pretty easy to do. Wood carving partitia. I would like to learn this on piano. Oh, nice. That's a cool boss fight. I love how that level spirals around the staircase. I thought that was just a really cool thing. So if anybody's been following, when I've been doing the SOTN streams, my PlayStation has been overheating and crashing a lot. So what I ended up doing is I ordered a the PSU power supply. So I'm gonna swap power supplies out of the my PlayStation, and that should help. I'm glad you do. This is the Saturn version. So I'm hoping that's gonna be an improvement. Take the save. Get out of my way! Darn flea men. Can't stand them. They'll do bleed damage. There we go. That was pretty easy. Alright, there's nothing. We can't do anything down there. I don't think there's anything down here. So when Richter hits something when he's in his slide jump, he instantly does the backflip. In the PlayStation version, that doesn't happen unless you press jump while you're in your air slide kick. So I like to say there's some slight quality of life improvements with this game. Even though it just runs slow. Nothing. bum. Boo-da-da-bum-bum-bum-bum. Bum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, so with the library done, we could just go straight to the clock tower. Probably best to go straight through the clock tower and then work our way back down the Royal Chapel. Loop around that way. And then go through the underground catacombs. And then by that time, the stone slab at the castle entrance should be open. I think the slab opens if 50% of the castle has been explored. I think that's how the stone slab opens up. I'm seeing more and more mods for Castlevania Portrait of Ruin lately. I saw like there's a Nathan Graves and Hugh Baldwin mode. There's a Used Belmont and Maxim mode, which is pretty cool. Hoo-yah! Let's trigger the warp room. We're gonna go straight up and fight the Karasu man. He's an easy boss. There's you know, it's like one Hydro Storm and he's done. What I think is great is like Richter Belmont starts off at like incredible offensive stats, but very low defense. He can get bodied real quick if he's not careful. This is the Saturn version. They made him look more like what his concept art was supposed to be. Who do we play as Maria? Talk about power. She just can do anything. She has the most offensive and magic abilities. And she has her own sub-weapons. Alright, let's go. Yeah, this is a glaring tell this is the Saturn version because of the load times. And just by the way, I play all this on console. This is no emulators. My TV is right there. They're all hooked up. I have a Sega Saturn. I have this copy. Oh, I love doing this. Hoo-yah! Not doing that, but just kick jumping like all the way through. Woo! Ugh. Richter, I like playing this mode, doing a Richter run, than the PlayStation version. I don't know. I have a weird love for the Saturn version. Even though it has more flaws, it's got charm. And I think it just, the controller feels better. It's very, very comfy playing this on a Saturn controller. Uh-oh. Oh. We gotta hurry to get that. Oh no, not you guys. There's a life up here. We just gotta like not get hit by these flea men. I hate them. Ah! There we go. There we go. Lucky me. Woo! I was getting really... Come on, jump in. There you go. Ah! Oh, there's the Hydra Storm. Taking that. Do. I love how this area is exactly in Rondo of Blood. Yeah, some of the sound effects are a little bit different with the enemy deaths, but it's okay. They never altered the background music, and that's what really matters. Preserving Michiru Yamane's score is key. Alright. Hydro Storm this guy. One Hydro Storm and 2 Whip Cracks did him in. This might be the Richter run. This is probably going to be the accidental Richter run. Even though I started it like midway through, or like quarter of the way through. Alright, just get on the thing. I can see it now. In Nocturne Season 2, things are going to get desperate. And Youth Belmont is going to throw Richter a vial of holy water. And Richter's going to catch it. And he's going to break it in his hand. And his hand's going to ignite blue. And he's just going to say, Hydro Storm. And then the wind is going to blow. The clouds are going to form. And it's going to start raining holy water. I would be like, yes, that is what every person needs to see. Like, I don't see him summoning a giant crucifix of Jesus. You know, maybe something similar to like Julius Belmont, where it's like blue fire. But you have to have that one scene where he just summons holy rain. And what you don't know is right off the bat, Richter Belmont can go straight into the other castle. But we're not going to go that way. Season 2 definitely has to have Hydro Storm, or you can't even call it a Castlevania animated series. You just can't. But I can see the scene now in my head. That would be so cool. Right, so we're gonna go through the reverse chapel as Richter Belmont. And then make our way to the underground cavern. That'd be pretty cool. I think Youst is gonna be more active in season 2. I think he is. And he's gonna regain his powers. So I said earlier in a previous stream that the cloud textures in the Saturn version are different. There's not that many of them in this version of the game. Thinking like how Charlotte and Jonathan can combine their magic, and they can do like those like dual summons. Didn't even stand a chance. Yep, we don't want to lose the holy water. See, is there anything up here? Oh, yep, we'll take that. Now, let's see if we can go actually into the catacombs or somewhere. Let's see. I know we can get through one of them. We can get through one of the doors here. Nope, we can't. The hitbox just won't work. Alright, that's fine. We'll just cycle around. We gotta go back to the center clock room anyhow. Really? Just end you, floating sword. Okay. Stuck. Bad idea. Just watch this ball just take out everything. Yeah. so warp our way back to the central clock room, go to the underground cavern. Or no, let's go take out Ulrox. Let's go take out Ulrox, and the Minotaur. Might as well just go take them out right now. I don't know if we fight the succubus, though. I don't think we do, as Richter. I hope everybody's having a happy Friday. It's New Year's weekend. It's the end of the year. I hope everybody's going to have a great 2024. I know I am. Some good changes are happening in my life for 2024. I'm really excited. I know my wife and daughter and I are excited too. But, yeah, I hope everybody's excited for the New Year's. You know, hopefully 2024 is better. You know, time for new beginnings. Just commit. There might be a new Castlevania game announced in 2024. Just fingers crossed on that. That's what I'm looking forward to. The announcement of a new Castlevania IP. And once that game is made, announced, I'm gonna just be like, I'm gonna pre-order it the day it goes live. Lock it in. No, I don't think it's gonna be a mobile game. I think they've tried their luck with that like 3 times over. Did anybody ever play Puzzle of the Night? I did. I tried playing the Grimoire of Souls. It was okay. They didn't really have to make it like an Apple Arcade exclusive. They could have made it like a Windows game. Ugh. Dun, da 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 dun dun dun. Bum bum. Yeah, I'm hopeful. I am hopeful that we get, because this is the Saturn version, so he's actually wearing his tailcoat from the concept art. That's why he looks different. Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we get a new Castlevania game for next-gen systems with a 2026 maybe slated release. She's like resilient to holy attacks. Oh, can't go out. The main question is it going to be a new game in the series timeline, or is it going to be a reboot? And I can't stand reboots at this point. Unless it's like a reimagining. This is the Sega Saturn version of the game. So, the Sega Saturn version, you can pick your character right at the very beginning. So you can play as Richter, Maria, or Alucard. Unless it's like a really good reimagining of like one of the other games. No, don't reboot the... I hope it's the War of 1999. That would be the perfect way to enter. That's, you know, you'll get Julius Belmont, you'll get Alucard, you'll get, like, you either want to do cinematic storytelling. I think that's the way to go. Put it back on the EGA timeline and not do, like, a Lords of Shadow rendition. Fun fact about Lords of Shadow. That was supposed to be its own IP before they stuck the Castlevania moniker on it. So there was supposed to be... So Lords of Shadow was supposed to be its own game. And it was going to resolve around a, like, Knight of the Church type stuff, investigating monsters, and then Konami was like, well, why don't you just make it Castlevania? And Mercury Steam was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to sit through another reboot of the franchise. I'd rather just put a game on the, like, EGA timeline, or straight up reboot one of the games in the series that can be, like, really, like, you know, you can soak 60-sub hours into the game. It doesn't. It's... I mean, I played the heck out of it when I got it. I honestly thought Mirror of Fate played more like a Castlevania game. Whereas Lords of Shadow 1 and 2 played more like God of War 1 and 2. What I didn't like was Mirror of Fate, Alucard didn't have a sword. I didn't like how the fact that, like, they all used variants of the whip. And I was just like, oh. Trevor used the whip, Simon used the whip, and Alucard used the whip. I didn't get Devil May Cry vibes from Lords of Shadow. I got more God of War. Let's go take out old rocks, because he's waiting for us. Is there a life up here? I don't remember. Forget. Nothing. That's fine. There we go. Alright. What are we thinking? 2-phase? 10 seconds to take out old rocks? I'm thinking it's like 10 seconds. See, when I play a Devil May Cry game, it's all about the combos. Oh, crikey. Oh. There we go. He's like, please sit down. No. I will not. There we go. That was about 10 seconds. I like sometimes when you stand in front of the gate there, they rattle the gates, their chains, like, hey, I'm over here. This might be the Richter run that we all wanted to see me do. All right, so we've now conquered all but the underground sections. So we're gonna make our way to the underground area. Let's see, how many bosses do we have to take out? We have to take out 1, 2, 3, and I think there's like a few life maxes that we gotta get. So once we get those 3 bosses done, it's gonna be... The hard part is the inverted castle. And remember, Richter takes a... You know, he can die real easily. And a lot of enemies in the inverted castle can do a lot of damage to me. So we're just going to try to avoid that. Oh, so this is something you might not notice. So in the PlayStation version, if you ever come to this area, there is a glare effect with the moon and yourself as the player. And there will be an after image in front of you in the foreground. It was a really cool visual effect that the PlayStation did. However, it doesn't happen here in the Saturn version. I always thought when I saw that in the PlayStation version that it was like a weird glitch. Yeah, I can point out like all these like oddities that I've noticed over the years with these 2 games. I think in the inverted castle, Richter can take about 6 hits before it starts to get real dicey with us. Yeah, I'm not dying yet. There we go. All right, we got through that part. All right, to the underground cavern we go, and then we'll take the little shortcut. We'll do the underground cavern, take the little shortcut to the through the marble gallery. Ba-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Do. All right. Heal. Underground caverns. And I love how these knights die. They're like, oh, it's so different than like in the PlayStation version where they're like, let's see if we can fight the succubus. I don't think we can. It's been a while since I've done a Richter run. Like a very long time. No, he can't fight the succubus. Alright, that's fine. Oh yeah, we have to fight Silica and Charybdis. That's what we have to do. I forgot that boss. Because it was not important. She's just not that important of a boss. Lesser known Greek mythology deity. Alright. Now, I don't think we can go here because the ferryman doesn't show up at all. And Richter does have the ability to just breathe underwater like a boss. Alright. Now loading. It only took 2 hits from that? Incredible. He's like, haha. Water doesn't hurt me, unlike Alucard. It hurts him. Oh, and she's down. Haha. I love when the game slows down. Did you ever like that when you were playing like Sega or Super Nintendo and you do stuff and the game just slows down and you're like, yes, I'm beating the game. That's always a good feeling when you do something and the game just slows down. Help me get to 10,000 followers this year. That's what I'm hoping. TikTok goal, 10,000 followers. YouTube needs to get at least up to 500. I only need like 70 more. With like 30 more on Twitch. Setting the bar low. Ooh, hold on, I gotta think here. Let's go this way. But we're not gonna go through that door yet because we know that there's a thingy here. We're gonna take. Alright, we're gonna go to this secret area. Our first, well, it's not really a secret, it's our first extra level, our first DLC content of the game. And that's gonna be the underground prison. And the underground prison is a shortcut that links the marble corridor to the underground waterway here. It serves really no purpose, it just has some high-level enemies. Again, Richter is just trying to get as much life up as he can so he can defeat the Galamoth and Shaft. I almost want to run. Well, we're gonna have to come back twice through, so. Because let me check my map here. Yeah. We're gonna go through this and zoom back. So this is the cursed prison. It's a very simple level. There's no boss. It's just a shortcut. But background is pretty interesting. You know, we got these hanging corpses. But it's the will-o-wisps and the ghosts that are very powerful. But we have to activate this switch or else we're not going to be able to move forward. And just like that, that's how you link those two areas together. And you can see it takes us right back to the castle entrance. I don't know. Are you referring from like a lore perspective that was supposed to be Alucard's room? Maybe. Now right here, what I just broke if you played as Alucard, that's where you would get the bloody dagger. We need to try to make our way back to the one side of the castle entrance, because there is a life up there. We need to get that, go up the waterfall, down, and then, yeah. Or, I think I'm going to make my way to the garden first, now that I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking that's the way to go. I never activated the first warp room. Now I'm thinking about it. Oop. It really has to be like right up on these guys. Oh! Wait. There's only one. Is there a life up over here? Nope. So one things that the Saturn couldn't do, which I find very debatable, because I know for a fact the Saturn was capable of transparencies, but they just didn't know how to do it. So what they did is dithering, where it's checkerboarded. Each pixel is checkerboarded to make it look like it's transparent. But I know there are some games out there on the Saturn that could do transparencies. And I find it just odd that they couldn't do that in this. Oh, no, 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 don't die. There we go. Oh, good, we got that life up. Huh. You're probably right. It would be the save room that would be at the very top of the outer wall. Alright, we're gonna go to the underground garden and be aware that the enemies there are very powerful. We might die. It's a very small area, but that houses the gardener or the guardian knight. Is that in the second castle or is that in the first one? It's interesting that the ferryman is here, but he's not on the other side. Let's see if we can outrun him. Oh, Richter's winning. Through the waterfall. I outran the ferryman. Complete underwater. In case you're wondering how to spin the whip easily in a complete circle, just keep tapping right on the controller, on the D-pad. Alrighty. Did I trigger any warp rooms other than the one that was in the outer wall? Yes. Oh, and when you start the game as Richter or Maria, the entrance theme is different. All right, here we go. Down into the depths of the garden. I know everybody's waiting to see this one. Michiru Yamane didn't compose any of the extra level music. That was done by the Konami Kuhika Club. So yeah, they always play Vampire Killer right here in the garden. We're gonna activate the warp gate so that we can go to the one here in the castle entrance. Because I forgot to save it and unlock this door. And this will be the shortcut that we take to get back into the underground caverns. So you can, kind of see how the routing changes a little bit. If you were trying to do a 211% run, you would naturally do what I just did. Instead of going to the underground catacombs, go back to the castle entrance and then take the shortcut through the prison. And we can hear the Vampire Killer theme in a very jazzy manner. So upbeat. You get these weird, like, balloon fish that just jump out at you. Everybody wants to see this thing. The living tree. Straight out of Kirby's Dream Land. But see, this is like the level of ridiculousness. This level is so short. You can't even enjoy the music because I'm already on the other side of the screen. You go from the castle entrance This is the Sega Saturn version of the game. I am playing this in Japanese. So I went from the entrance down. Ugh. How many people get to see this area? This DLC content? I knew about this area when I was like in high school. I didn't get my Saturn copy of this game till I was probably like 16. And then at first, I didn't have a Sega Saturn when I was 16, so I actually ran the disc on a Saturn emulator. But now I have a Sega Saturn and everything, so it's really fun. Oh no, giant Venus flytrap! I did the glitch on the PlayStation version the other night on how to get into the secret save as Richter. This is just a warm-up. I was going to do a deathless 211% run this weekend as Alucard, and then it just turned into like, let's do a Richter Belmont run. So we have to fight the Guardian armor here. The Skeleton Guardian. He's a very lackluster boss. Now, he could be really hard as Alucard, because he could 3-hit you, and you're just done for. Are they region locked? No. Well, they kind of are, but if you have a pro action replay, they're not region locked. So you can get an action replay cart and put it in your Sega Saturn, so it acts as the 4 megabyte part upgrade. And once you put that in, your Saturn's region free. You can play any game you want. Doesn't matter of what. But I also have an ODE inside my Saturn, so I can play any region games. My physical copy of Dracula X is on the shelf. But yeah, as long as you have an action replay cart, you can play any game from any territory on your Saturn, regardless of origin. Hydro Storm. And that's it. Like, this is the underground garden. Very, very short. Yeah, you're not really missing much. Just to kind of show off, you know. We'll just run through the door here. But yeah, you shouldn't have a problem playing anything on your Sega Saturn as long as you have an action replay cart. Oh, it's getting dicey. Can I get to that save room? Uh-oh. There we go. HDMI cable's getting a little color issue here. Switch it to game mode. Oh. All right, back to the underground waterway. So we're gonna go take the shortcut. Like, did they need to be in the PlayStation version? No. They didn't need to have those extra levels. They kind of really are just too short compared to the other areas of the castle. Now, if they combined maybe the underground garden with the underground waterway, all right, that might have been better. Spam Hydro Storm here. Oh, give me that stopwatch. Yes, this is the Sega Saturn version. You are correct. All right, 2 more bosses left to do. Or no, I'm sorry, just 1, and then we can go to the inverted castle. Ooh. Get out of my way, Frogie. Yes. The 360 version is a rip of the PlayStation version, minus the FMV sequences. I don't know why, but they didn't include the FMV sequences in there. Oh my gosh, really? I was trying to do a stylish backflip, and that happened. Sure, cool. Oh, nice. Very impressive. I remember in art class back in high school, we had to make these like wooden houses, and I was trying to make a cutaway of what Castlevania 1 would look like. Needless to say, I never was able to do it. You only had like 6 weeks in art class to like work on a specific project. Take out the Cerberus. Oh, I forgot the Cerberus is here. Just Hydro Storm it to death. Put out them flames. There we go. We just damage stacked our way to victory. Alright, next up, the Legion. I saw Dragon Blitz, like, go through the spike room as Richter, and I was impressed. I was like, I ain't doing that. I have, so I have the, MetaQuest headset. And I have, SideQuest installed, and I have the Doom mod of Castlevania on there. And that's kind of fun to play the Doom mod of Castlevania in VR. It's pretty cool. I haven't figured out how to stream VR like stuff yet. I'm still thinking about that. Yeah, I saw Dragon Blitz do it, and I was just like, I don't think there's any life up down there. But he did it. I was just like, wow. Maybe I'll try to do the Castlevania Doom VR run, because that's pretty fun playing it on the headset. So let's take out the Legion. I think I called it the Grand Falloon last time, because that's kind of what it was. It is. It's the Grand Falloon. What game was that called? The Grand Falloon. Was that Area of Sorrow? You know, I liked it. And I will defend it. You know, there comes a point where you can't write a show where the main villain is always going to be the same villain. It would just be a broken record if it was Dracula the whole time. So I'm going to give the show credit. I like where they're going, but it is now its own thing. And I thought that was a great ending to the first season. Like, it was just this big buildup, and then you're like, oh, death is the final baddie. That makes perfect sense. But with Richter, I like what they're doing. But it's now its own thing. You know, and you have to respect that. Like, here's the thing. If anybody here is a Dragon Ball Z fan, yeah, I was. Dracula was the main bad guy in the game. It was Rondo of Blood. Dracula kidnapped 4 women. Yeah, so that's a weird thing. They made him kind of like, I don't want to say a wimp, but they made him like a glass cannon. And we all know Richter Belmont is the strongest Belmont, but then he was like, oh no, Count Ulrox makes me feel bad. But then he met Just Belmont, and then he was like, okay. He gets his confidence back. I get that. Like, I can't hate it, but I understand it's its own entity, and I want to see how that plays out. But with the first one with Trevor Belmont, that was great. That followed the source material like at least 85% of the way through. And it still leaves room for Curse of Darkness to take place. It still leaves room for the games to be canon still. It's just with Nocturne, Rondo of Blood is kind of now its own thing. Uh-oh. God, I still hate those gremlins. But I'm gonna give it a chance, because you have to have the hero's journey. Anytime you do any type of storytelling and writing, when you have a hero, you have to give them some sort of conflict. And this is pretty much mythos, and any college professor and any literary major will tell you that it's the hero's journey. You have to have somebody whose fault Richter, we know, is the strongest Belmont in the entire series, but he has to have something that's like, weak. No, we're playing the actual Japanese Sega Saturn version. Straight with Japanese characters. But with that in mind, could they make him like not have a wimpy moment? Yeah. They could have done it a little bit better. But the idea is the hero has to have some sort of internal conflict so he can grow from it. I think they just did it weirdly enough, like, oh, Count Ulrox scares the hell out of him, but yet he has no problem just massacring vampires left and right. Chalk that up to the showrunners. But you have to have that type of conflict. We saw this in, if anybody's a Star Wars fan, anybody's a Harry Potter fan, you have the hero. The hero's always going to be conflicted in some way. Harry never knew his parents. He lived with his abusive aunt and uncle. Him trying to find acceptance was his, conflict. Luke Skywalker is a great example. Well, until Rian Johnson completely butchered it, but aside from that, Luke saw his family taken away from him to the point where he had nothing. We all know Rey was a Mary Sue. But at the end of the day, our heroes become heroes for a reason. Harry Potter understands that he had family all along with the Dursleys, and with his friends and with everybody at Hogwarts. Luke was accepted by everybody in the rebellion because he was a nobody. So I mean, Richter, having that tragic element, okay, they could have wrote it in a little bit better. I would have had it done a little bit differently if I was the showrunner. I would have had it where Richter Belmont was enlisted in the French Revolutionary side, and he was fighting in the Revolutionary War, and he was seeing some stuff. He was seeing the trauma, and my thing was he would develop PTSD from that. And I think that would have been better, because that would have been his driving force to be a strong hero, which was to basically, let's say like he was fighting in the French Revolutionary War, and at the same time, yeah, there's vampires, there's undead, there's night creatures, and he's fighting with revolutionaries, he's fighting with the Imperials, and the bourgeoisie, and then he's seeing like that, people dying and stuff. And I think what would have been really good is if he failed at saving a family from like either a vampire, and it caused him and his like maybe like friends around him to get killed. That would have been a good turning point. Let's say it was Count Ulrox that did it, and that traumatized him because he failed for the first time. That would have been better writing. And that's what I was thinking would happen, was he would have, had PTSD that way, but they wrote it in differently. They wrote it in, his mother being killed and he didn't know what to do. Well, that's the whole point of Rondo of Blood, was it's set in the backing of the French Revolutionary. So the time frame that Rondo of Blood takes place is during the French Revolutionary War. And we know that Trevor Belmont says the Belmonts come from the Kingdom of France. It was Leon Belmont who first journeyed to Wallachia. And it's the fact that why is Richter the only one wearing a blue tailcoat? Because that was the symbol of the French revolutionaries, was wearing those blue tailcoats. Why do you think the Musketeers wear the blue coats? Because they're revolutionaries. So understanding a little bit of the concept art behind that, he wore blue because he's siding with the revolutionaries. His grandfather, Eustace Belmont, wore red. 50 years prior, the French government, the French royalty, was fine before the revolutionary happened. So that's why Eustace has a red tailcoat and Richter wears blue. Little bit of history in there, but I would have definitely wrote Richter Belmont in as a revolutionary soldier, fighting night creatures and vampires alongside humans, and then having him develop some sort of PTSD from that. That's how I would have done it. I mean, the best example is if you play Dracula X Chronicles, his entire, which the anime is based off of his outfit in Dracula X Chronicles, which the concept was done by Ayami Kojima. Yeah, like that's straight up, like that's French. That's a French military tailcoat that he's wearing. Because he has the dual lapel buttons, and he's got like the I forget what it's called. He's got the shoulder straps that go in a cross. A lot of French revolutionaries wore that because one would hold like a musket and the other one would hold like their supplies. And we see in his concept art, he has daggers all through them. So that would be kind of cool though. And that was the whole point, was connecting that through history. And the only other Castlevania game that used a little bit of history was Portrait of Ruin and Bloodlines. Bloodlines was set in World War One, and Portrait of Ruin was set on the backdrop of World War. No, Portrait of Ruin was set on the backdrop, I think, of World War One or Two. It did. I will say that it started off a little bit slow, but it got better. I don't care that they made what's her face, black. I don't care. You gotta have like a band of of heroes. I think is Portrait of Ruin set in the back of World War II. I think it's World War I, because it's 1917 is when Bloodlines takes place. So and Jonathan is John's son, so I think it's World War I. But yeah, and I love kind of like what they were doing with the anime, where they were having. Oh, did I just crash? Oh no, the game has to load there. They were having like. So one thing I really like is now they're introducing different concepts in terms of like gods and stuff. So we know like Elizabeth Bathory, she drinks the blood of Sekhmet to become like the primordial vampire, which is pretty cool. So now you're bringing in the Egyptian gods, and then Annette, she pulls a lot of her like magic abilities from her like lineage ancient gods as well, the god of earth and god of iron, which is really cool. So I like how they're kind of introducing like higher beings and different things into the story. Originally Maria Renard's abilities, the fact that she has animal familiars, those are based off of the Chinese zodiac. And that's like what, you know, one of the things that, you know, she brings to the table. Oh wait, I should trigger that warp room first. But I you know, I like what they're doing with that. You know, you just kind of open up into a little bit more fancy. Okay, yeah, you might be right. It takes I know it's like 1937 is when Portrait of Ruin takes place, because this is the Sega Saturn version. That's why the graphics look different. So they were trying to use, the plot was Barlow was trying to use the blood of the people, the victims of World War II, to fuel his power. Oh gosh, this area is very difficult to navigate as Richter. Just because we're gonna get bodied if we're not careful. We're gonna be spamming Hydrostorm. Oh gosh, there goes my... come on. Come on, come on, come on. Ah! Oh man, I'm hitting the spikes on accident. Come on, I need a health up here. I'm hoping if they do another anime or definitely a game, we should definitely see Julius in his earlier years, because we never got that. We never got the story of 1989, which that would have been a great game. And I think Igarashi was planning on it. And the only time that we kept getting like clues about it was in Aria of Sorrow and in Dawn of Sorrow. They would always reference the War of 1999, where the world's governments collected together with a Belmont, a Belnatus, the Hakuba family, Alucard, and the Paranormal Society to stop the resurrection of Count Dracula. How cool was that? That was a mouthful. You never made it halfway through? Oh man, you're missing out. Game only gets better. I'm still hoping that they need to make a modern Castlevania game. Either just do a straight up 2.5D side-scroller remake of Symphony of the Night, or just do a Bloodborne style game. End of story. That's it. That's it. You can do it. End of story. Super Castlevania 4 is fun. I find that that's my least playable one. I play Super Castlevania 4 every now and again, but how many versions of Simon Belmont do we need to play as? I like playing the Chronicles version. It's a good, like, 50-minute, just like, I have time. See how fast we can get through it. Did anybody... I loved Metroid Dread. I thought that game was really well done. And fun fact, that's made by Mercury Steam. The people that made the Lords of Shadow game. Yeah, Mercury Steam made Metroid Dread, but I liked how difficult that game was. It had just the right amount of challenge and exploration. I think Mercury Steam learned from their mistake with Castlevania, because they did Metroid 2 Samus Returns on the 3DS, and that gave them the green light to work on Metroid Dread, which was really good. I never beat Earthbound. I never beat it. I want to, but I never beat it. It's just one of those things, it's like I haven't gotten around to playing it. I'm thinking of definitely, like, do Castlevania 2 in the style of God of War, Ragnarok. Have it, like, set where we get this, like, intro retelling of Simon Belmont defeating Dracula, but then getting cursed and afflicted. And then the game just starts with Simon's quest. And you have the open world of going to the mansions, trying to navigate your way, get the relics in any order, unlock stuff, and then you have like that cinematic storytelling. I think that would be good. A Castlevania 64 remake would be pretty good. I like that game. Despite everybody in the fandom saying it's the weakest one, I'm like, nah, I liked it. I grew up playing it. Legacy of Darkness was pretty good too. I loved playing as Cornell the werewolf. I thought that was a very cool take on the game. And then 10-year-old me figures out that it was because the game was rush developed for the N64 that they used the extra time to finish it. I know, I do. I have both of them. I have Mother and Earthbound. I think I have Earthbound 3 on my Game Boy Advance. Oh, excuse me. I'm very selective with my JRPGs. And so one of the streams that I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to do a Golden Sun playthrough. Because Golden Sun was like my favorite JRPG. I'm going to do like its predecessor, Shining the Holy Ark. Which is only on the Sega Saturn, and that game is fun. Breath of Fire is probably like my second greatest JRPG. I love Breath of Fire 4. Breath of Fire 4 and 2 are like my favorites. 3, I like 3. Everybody seems to like 3, but I like 4 the best. Underrated JRPGs. Let's see. Suikoden. Suikoden is a good one. I like Wild Arms, but I never really played it. I think what is the third one, the one that has the Trigun reference where you can see Vash Stampede. Suikoden's underrated. What's a good? I have to like really think, because again, I'm very selective with my JRPGs. Sweet Home on the NES. Imagine playing Resident Evil as in the style of a JRPG. That's exactly what that game is. That's a really fun RPG game. You have to think in that game. Ooh, getting bodied there. Yeah, I have Dot Hack. I never really played it. Gotta think, because I have a bunch on my shelf here. Oh, there was no boss here. Baten Kaitos. That's a good underrated one. I have Xenogears, but never really played it. Maybe in the future I will. Yeah, Baten Kaitos is a really good one. What's one that came out on Dreamcast? I don't really know. I have to. So like, I'm not a Final Fantasy fan. So I mean, you know, feel free to unsubscribe. I can't get into Final Fantasy. So I tried playing Monster Hunter on the Xbox Series X for the Witcher crossover event, and I just never knew how to do that. To trigger it. Valkyrie Profile. That's a really good underrated JRPG. Probably my third favorite. I highly recommend Valkyrie Profile. Has a lot of replayability. There's lots to do in that game. And you can play the game differently all the time. Valkyrie Profile 2 has a really unique like live combat style, which is pretty cool. And then there's the Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume, which is pretty cool. That's on DS. That's where you take the role of somebody who doesn't like the Valkyries. And I am not getting out of here alive, so this is probably going to end the run. Oh my gosh. That was a good... Didn't die. Skies of Arcade is pretty cool. Alright, I'll show off Maria. Yeah, I recommend Valkyrie Profile 1. And oh yeah, I love Drakengard. So I don't consider them JRPGs though, because it's a Yoko Taro game. Trust me, I played Nier Automata. Alright, let's pick up Maria. Let's show off Maria. I liked it. Very deep and depressing. What term? Deep and depressing? Oh yeah. So Maria can shoot Hadokens and kick. Oh, Yoko Taro's the director. He created the Nier series, so he created Drakengard. So Yoko Taro made Drakengard 1, 3, Nier Replicant, and Nier Automata. And when you play those games, they are very depressing. Like Game of Thrones level, like depressing. So yeah, Yoko Taro's the guy that created it. Yeah, but they're not RPG games. Yeah, so it's Drakengard's E ending. The 5th ending is what goes into the Nier Replicant. And it's Nier Replicant's ending 5, which goes into Nier Automata. And then all the endings in Nier Automata are just not happy. Like, when you understand the whole lore of the games combined, they're not happy. It is depressing. And Drakengard 2 was developed by Ubisoft. Games that I hate playing. Movie-based games. I will not touch a single movie-based game unless it's Street Fighter the Movie 3. Or Street Fighter the Movie the Game. Just as a novelty. No, I mean, like, I don't like movies based on a game. Like, I'm not gonna go get Iron Man on Xbox 360 when it's the Iron Man movie. I'm not gonna play, like, you know, Captain America. But, like, the Arkham games are pretty cool. Like, they're standalone Batman games. The Mad Max game is pretty cool because it's kind of like its own original game. It's its own original story. But games I hate playing. GTA? GTA and COD. I liked Mad Max, and it was done by the people that did Arkham. But yeah, I don't really know. I don't like GTA, I don't like COD. I don't like Fortnite. Like, I really don't care. I guess I have to say, I don't like free-to-play games. But yet I played Destiny for like 2 years straight. But I also bought the expansions. And I liked Destiny till a certain point till I got burned out. I guess that's it. The thing is when you get older and when you're a game collector, yeah, like you start really picking and choosing, you know, your games. So like, all right, grid combat games are kind of okay, but like as an example, I like the Fire Emblem games, but I've never beaten a Fire Emblem game. If that makes sense. I gotta get used to Maria. In the PSP version of this game, Maria controls very differently. She doesn't have like all these magics. I never played this Gaia. That's the Final Fantasy like beat 'em up, right? Isn't there like 9 of them? And one thing is having every game in like a collection is amazing, but then you just don't really have time to play. So like, so here's a good example. I liked Fallout 1 through 3, but I do not care for Fallout 4. Or New Vegas. I would rather play Elder Scrolls. Yeah, I didn't really care about them, so that's the thing. My daughter watches a lot of YouTubers that play Roblox, but she's 4, so she says, I'm not old enough to play that game. And I'm like, okay, I agree. I have Starfield. I have Starfield. I want to play it. I started playing it, and then I was like, oh. Yeah, I can't really say like there's games that I hate, because if it's like a game that doesn't look appealing to me, I'm just not gonna play it, and then I'm gonna forget about it. Like I said in a previous stream, I go through phases. So like, there was a time in like my early 360s where all I did was play first-person shooters. Halo 3, Halo 2, Halo 1, Rainbow Six Vegas, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Perfect Dark. And then I got sick and tired of it, and then I started doing like third-person games. And then from there, like, I got back into first-person games with Destiny. And then now I'm sick and tired of first-person games, so now I'm back to playing 2D side-scrollers. Now, if you're gonna say like a game that like, it's a game that like you can always pick up and play no matter what, well, that's gonna be Symphony of the Night or any Castlevania game. But I will say this, Turok holds a very special place in my heart. I will play Turok 1, 2, and 3 non-stop. And it took me years, but I actually beat Turok 2 legit. Like, I remember as a kid, I had a strategy guide, the Prima strategy guides, and I still like didn't know how to beat the game. And that's a when Turok 2 came out, that's a modern Metroidvania, or that's a modern Metroid Prime game, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of backtracking. The game doesn't tell you where to go, what you do. I don't like any of the hit and run games. I don't. Okay. All right. So now you guys got me thinking. I will never play a racing game. Do not like it. I don't care for it. That and football games. I will not play a Madden game. I do not like sports games. So those, if those, that would be the answer. Games that you hate playing, that I hate playing, like sports and racing. Do not like it. But yeah, Turok 2 was very challenging. It never held your hand. But I beat it. It took 20 years, but I beat it. Legit. I sat on my couch, played the Switch during the pandemic. I was like, I'm gonna get through this game. And I did. And I got the ending. Because if you cheat, the ending, you don't get the good ending if you cheat. But yeah, can't do those. I'm not a Street Fighter fan. I'm more Mortal Kombat. I'm just not a Street Fighter fan. I liked King of Fighters, but you know, that's that. But see, if you cheat to beat the game, you don't get the best ending. And they were like, they like say like, oh, well, you know, if it's Turok 2, they'll say like, the Primogen is not fully defeated. And then you're like, well, wait a second, what? But yeah, I legit played through the game, and it took me forever, but I was just proud that I did it. So I didn't grow up with a PlayStation. Oh my god, that is so cool. All right, just so like you guys understand, I'm doing the input commands that Alucard would do to summon spells, and that's Maria summoning spells. That's cool. She can. So yeah, if you input like the spells that like Alucard uses, she uses like her like spells from like her animals. Yeah, Maria can do that. Maria's the most OP character in this game. I like the game doesn't tell you that, but she can do the most out of everybody. One, she can kick. She can kick, and then, you know, you can do slides. She can dash. Down, up, jump. She can use sub-weapons, shoot little Hadokens. She's in the Japanese version of the game. And in the PSP version, but she plays differently. Oh, hi Daniel, how are you? Yeah, but I didn't grow up with a PlayStation, so I never got to play Tekken. And when it came to fighting games, I was always like raised on Mortal Kombat's the best, and then Smash Brothers came out, and I was like, yep, there it is. I'm probably gonna wrap this stream up soon, as I am starting to get a little bit tired, and this was just more of a warm up for this weekend's SOTN No Death stream as Alucard. Yeah, I probably got maybe 10 more minutes of life in me. I might do SOTN on Sunday. And Golden Axe Beast Rider tomorrow. Do like another level of that. I didn't get a PS1 till Terra Onion announced the ODE for it. So like I had a PS2. So I went with like, I grew up in the order of like Genesis, N64, PS2, GameCube, then PS2. Then what did I get? 360. I don't even remember anymore. I'm just waiting to get a Philips CDI. That's my next and probably final retro console, is to get the Philips CDI. Wow. Because there's talks that there might be an ODE coming out for it, so I do want to get a Philips CDI when that happens. Then I can stream the Unholy Triforce games, the Unholy Zelda trilogy for everybody. That would be fun. I could play those God-forsaken hand-drawn cutscenes of Link, the Faces of Evil, and Zelda, Wand of Gamelon. You can find them on eBay. But the guy that posted a question earlier this year was, what version of the CDI do people want him to develop an ODE for? Because there's, I think, 3 different versions. Just like there's like 3 different versions of the 3DO. And the 3DO has 2 ODEs. I have the FZ1 3DO, which you can get really cheap from Japan. I have a Neo Geo AES. I ordered mine from Japan back in 2019. I paid $400. But I also got 2 controllers too. And I know for a fact, like, each one of the joystick controllers are $100 a piece. How do you think I played a magician? I streamed Magician's Lord. Yeah, I have, so I don't have an original NES. I sold that. But I do have the retro USB AES, or AVS, which is the FPGA NES that rivals that of the analog, and it's much more affordable than the analog NES. And then I have the analog Super NT, so I sold my Super Nintendo. I built an N64 Junior, so I used my old N64 and shrunk it down to a Junior, a smaller size, using a 3D printed shell. Got the GameCube with the Game Boy player. I have an Atari Jaguar. So I sold my NES, my TurboGrafx, for the Atari Jaguar. I have a 3DO, a Neo Geo AES, 2 PlayStation 2s, a PS1, a Core Graphics with the Super System HD3 attached to it from Terra Onion, Sega Saturn analogs, the Analog SG. I have a Sega Dreamcast, but I put it in the Dream case, which I don't know if anybody knows what that is. That's where you turn your Dreamcast into a discless console. It's in a metal shell. It's very cool. And since my Dreamcast has an ODE inside, I don't need a disc. So I consoleize that into a system. I have a Wii that has an external hard drive, the Wii U 360, an OG Xbox that's been modded, that has a 3 terabyte hard drive inside. I got my PSVR 1 over there, and downstairs, and on like the side of my desk here, I got PS5 and Series X. Downstairs I have my Switch on my TV. No, you don't. It's really cool. Um, uh, I'm hoping the guy, I think it's TR Fight Sticks was the guy that made the Dreamcase shell. I wrote him and I said, you need to do one for the PlayStation 1 and the Saturn, since I'm like not even using the disk drives on them. Straight up does a Kamehameha. So Maria can't do item crashes in this game, just so you know. Only Richter can do the item crash. But Maria does get the most hearts. So yeah, I'm definitely on the lookout for a Philips CDI. So I did collect the disc games. I sold a bunch of them. But honestly, I kind of held off. I suspended going hard collecting. It's more cost efficient to just play ODEs of everything. So like, I haven't bought a new GameCube game or a PlayStation 2 game in a good while. I'll buy games for like new consoles that are coming out. But yeah. I had like 300 games, so I had like over 1,000 games in my physical collection here. And I sold like 300 of them. Like I sold like a bunch of Super Nintendo games, complete in box. Some PS2 games I sold. But it's, it's at this point, like, I have 99% every single Castlevania game on physical media. The only ones I am missing are the Sharp 6800 and the MSX Vampire Killer. Those are the only two. The rest, I have a whole shelf dedicated to everything Castlevania. But ODEs and flash carts really do save you money. If you're a gamer that just enjoys playing games, honestly, having a flash cart or an ODE that does it all is perfectly fine. I personally just like playing the games on native hardware, as opposed to emulation. Like, I don't want to have to emulate a game unless it's like a last resort. So that's why, like, I'm on the hunt now for a DS with a capture card, so I can really stream the DS Castlevania games. And I know there's people that are gonna say, "Oh, but emulation is the future." That's fine. I just don't like. I don't like that, because, and I'll say this: there's a charm when you glitch a game unknowingly, or the game hardware just can't handle how good you are. I don't know, I like that. Like, I like it right now that everything on this screen is starting to slow down because I have now all these baddies all here. But I know with emulation, like, you couldn't. And years ago, when I was in high school, I had no choice. To play Dracula X here, I had to use a Saturn emulator, but I had the physical disc. So I'd pop the disc in and run it on my computer. And that was how I first learned how to play this game. But it feels way better when you're using like an actual like Saturn controller, and I don't know, there's just a charm about it. I like it. I know, and I've read about them. They have the loopy capture card, but the thing is they're like $300, and I'm just like, like I gotta really, you know, hope it works. But then I also read like, well, it streams the game but not the audio, so you have to get like an audio jack. So that means I'd have to plug an audio cable into my DS and then run that through like my audio interface as a microphone in for the in-game sound to be recorded. I can do that, don't get me wrong. It's just that, like, you know, it only captures one thing or the other. I was thinking of trying to get... So the only other option would be is if I can get a hold of a DS dev kit and just straight up hook that up to my, like, HDMI splitter. Or my HDMI switcher, and then play it that way. I think that would be a little bit cool. I also learned that DS dev kits, you can't use DS carts. You basically have to put ROMs on a DS dev kit to play. But that's like the only other option. You either use a DS dev kit or you find a DS with a capture card. And I don't want to go through ordering from Japan and converting money through a system that I'm not familiar with to get one. So that's kind of like my debacle with that. But that's, you know, on the table for something down the line. I do want to get a DS with a capture card. I do have my 3DS. I soft modded it so I can cast my screen on my computer, but it would only work with 3DS games, not DS games. So again, I'm a little SOL when it comes to, you know, getting the Castlevania games that way. Oh man, I just headbutted that guy. Ah. How did I headbutt that guy as Maria? Or how do you soft mod your DS, your 3DS, to cast on your computer? Is that what you're asking? Ah. So, it's very simple. You just download a file. You download Homebrew, and you put it on an SD card. You put the SD card in the DS, and then it opens up the menu. And then basically, let me see actually what it is. I'll actually tell you guys. That's my 3DS starts up. But I did it. It was very simple. You know, you just download the files from GitHub, and you download Homebrew. And what happens is that has FBI and Universal Updater, and then from that you can turn on the debug mode menu from the DS, and you download something called CFW, and that basically allows you to cast. onto your computer. And to do that, you enable the debug mode menu for your DS, and you can write down your DS IP address. And you pretty much type that IP address in on your computer, and then once it hooks up, a little window appears, and there's your DS screen. But it only works for the 3DS. Not for 2DS games. So I can play like the new Zelda games and capture them that way. But yeah, there's a tutorial on YouTube for it. It's the easiest and most non-invasive thing to do. Yeah, just I think you can use it up to like the latest update, or I haven't updated my DS since I installed it. Because I was told that Nintendo was going to stop supporting the 3DS, and then all of a sudden now I'm getting questions to update my 3DS, and I'm just like, it's not even connected to the internet anymore. Like the shop channel's closed, so what am I gonna do? But yeah, it's a good solution if you have a 3DS. Trying to think what other spells I can do. She's like hitting them with the Chidori or the Rasengan. But yeah, I am definitely looking for a regular DS with a capture card. Now let's see if I can actually beat Shaft as Maria. Let's see. I'm kind of skipping a bunch of bosses here. Hoya. Kick him in the spine. Yeah. Trying to think what else from Symphony of the Night stuff you could do. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to emulate. I might sell my my N64 because the Analog is announcing the Analog 64, which I am excited for. I have the Analog Duo. I just don't have it hooked up to anything. But I'll be excited for that. When that comes out. Man, Maria just tackled that skeleton. Oh, jeez. Come on. Now, I'm not sure if I have to beat every boss to, Oh, no. To, open the final gates here, but we'll see. Oh, the final guards are going to be tricky. Oh. Play it safe. Use ranged weapons. Use ranged magic. 4K. Yo, yeah. It doesn't really matter. So, like, look, I have a 4K TV, and all my consoles are HDMI out, and they output to 1080 or 720. I have the M Classic. That's upscaling everything to 4K. But I'm capturing at 1080p. Ah, just got bodied by the bone, but she lets out a screech. Well, that is Castlevania, Dracula X, Nocturne in the Moonlight on the Sega Saturn. Again, this has just been like a warm up. Yeah, I know. She's got a really blood curdling scream. This is just a warm up till I do the Deathless a la carte run, since I did a Deathless 100% run with that, with on the the PlayStation. But I think it's 9 o'clock, coming up on 2 hours here. I'm thinking about calling it tomorrow. I'm probably gonna stream a little bit more Golden Axe Beast Rider, and then maybe Sunday, do the actual no death Saturn SOTN experience. Um, I got my time down to sub 4 on PlayStation, so I'm gonna try to get my time down to sub 6 on the Saturn version. You have to also remember the Saturn version does run slightly slower than the PlayStation version, and there's more load times. So I need to try to just, account for that. But aside from that, it's been a great stream. I've had a lot of fun. Thank you very much for joining. Give me a follow, share this out. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And have a great Happy New Year if I don't see you guys. Bye. See you tomorrow.